Developer Relations at the Wormhole Foundation. I'm very excited to be here today, and we're going to talk about how institutions are actually using Wormhole today. And what I mean by today is that I don't mean another marketing announcement or a coming soon type of partnership. I'm going to walk you through live integration. So how companies like Securitize or Centrifuge or even M0 are actually integrated with Wormhole. So we don't really need to debate the value of RWAs today, right? But as a reminder, tokenization of illiquid assets estimated to be a 16 trillion business opportunity by 2030. So it's absolutely crucial for asset issuer to understand why tokenized asset needs to be multi-chain. And the second question we're going to try to answer is how can institutions achieve that with Wormhole? So what institution needs? Institution needs three things. They need security, compliance, and unified access to on-chain liquidity. So what is very important to understand is that just having your asset tokenized isn't enough. Tokenizing assets on a platform can guarantee you the first two ones, right? So your token might be compliant, but if it stays in one ecosystem, it's basically in a silo. So to reach the full on-chain market, your asset must be able to move cross-chain. And that's exactly what Wormhole enables. So that's the reality of interoperability. In an ideal world, a tokenized asset will go through a KYC compliance process. It will get tokenized, and then it would just be able to be fully distributed onto any on-chain market, onto any ecosystem. Well, the reality is a little more complex. Blockchain interoperability is definitely still a challenge. So basically, today, if you tokenize your asset on one native chain, you will have what you get on the right. So you will have a tokenized asset on Ethereum, and the on-chain market you can actually access just like that is the Ethereum market. Your liquidity will not be able to go into Solana, Sui, or whatever another chain. So this is just to go quickly over it, but this is the end-to-end flow of tokenization and its key players. It's very important to understand each step of the process and why asset issuer wants to do what they're doing at the moment. So you have an asset issuer from any TradFi, credit fund, bonds, equity, whatever. BlackRock, Apollo, Vanyek, Hamilton Lane, they're all using us through through Securitize. And they go through compliance and tokenization with our partner, okay? Then what's gonna happen is that they will use, under the hood, they use Wormhole for enabling their token to move across chain. And eventually, why they want to do that? Because they want the asset optimization. They want to use them as collateral on, I don't know, a DeFi platform on Solana, a lending protocol on Sui. So if you do not have an interoperability solution for your assets, as I said before, you are basically not giving a full global access to your capital. So what is Wormhole? So Wormhole is the leading interoperability platform connecting the traditional finance and the broader internet economy. We were the first bridge between Ethereum and Solana, and this is where the majority of the volume is still transferred. So just some numbers. Wormhole has facilitated over 60 billion in cross-chain volume. And we have, since the beginning of the protocol, we have more than 1 billion messages that have been transferred. We are today supported in more than 40 blockchains. So we are definitely a very experienced player in the space. This is the product suite we have. And so maybe some of you have already used something like Portal or maybe even the Connect widget. Today, we're going to focus on two main products for Wormhole. Entity, which is the native token transfer, and the general message passing layer, which is really the core element of the protocol. So institutions have basically two main paths at this moment. First one, entities. So Wormhole's entity provider out-of-the-box solution for transferring stablecoins. In this, because we are talking about institution, this is more stablecoin, but it's about any data assets, like actually. So it preserves the ownership over your token design, and you have full control over the security settings. So just to be clear, entity is a flexible framework. It is not a token standard and is extremely adaptable. The idea behind it is that any asset issuer would have a very easy framework to be able to distribute their asset across chain. So M0 is the one we're going to talk about, but Centrifuge use that for their token. And it's very much, let's say, the most common use case is when you do not have any sort of very specific needs, right? So that is what usually entity is for. Then you have the messaging. So the messaging is the core protocol of the Wormhole ecosystem. It's a generic multi-chain message passing layer, and it's often used for customized needs. We're going to sit with Securitize. Centrifuge also uses it for their Vault contract, because one of the hard requirements for entity is that your token needs to be either ERC20 token or SPL token. So if you have a Vault, for instance, you will have to use the messaging layer because it's slightly more customized and is not a ERC20 contract. Okay, so Entity and M0. This is a very interesting partnership. We are very happy to work with them. I'm a bit biased because I really like the M0 team and their work. But so what is M0 basically? M0 is a universal stablecoin platform built for the multi-chain world. So at its core, you have a yield-bearing stablecoin that is called the M token. And what can you do with M0? So M0 provides the building block, basically for creating a digital dollar. So it really makes it perfectly tailored for you to build your own stablecoin. Flexibility and customization are key to its design, and it's exactly where the entity framework plays a crucial role. So you have projects like USD DAI, for instance, or more recently, you have the MUSD, what they call Mask USD, I think, with MetaMask. They have used M0, right? So it's issued by M0, and then it's we're going to see it very quickly, but like you basically can use the M token as a collateral across multiple chains. So how does it work exactly? M0 uses Ethereum as the hub chain, okay? This is where the native M token is issued, and other EVM chain are spokes chain. So is Solana, for instance. So any chain that is not Ethereum will be the spoke chain, and therefore you will be minting a representation of the M token. So let's say through Wormhole entity, you can basically transfer the M token natively between Ethereum to Solana, and all of this is done without wrapping. That is one of the key features of the entity framework. You do not wrap the asset like you would do with a general message passing. So you will end up with a native token on the destination chain, And the way it works is because Hub and Spark does not burn your token and then mint it. What it does is it's lock it on the source chain and then is minting it again on the destination chain. So when M moved from Ethereum to Solana, for instance, the original, so as I just said, the original token is locked on Ethereum, and the native representation is minted directly on Solana. And that means that Solana users can now hold and use M token natively, okay? So they will have the same yield, the same security, and the same backing as the Ethereum version, okay? But they also will benefit from the low gas fee and speed from the Solana ecosystem. So in a nutshell, it's a win-win, okay? You have, on one side, a Ethereum asset that has been minted into a Solana native assets. So you can actually benefit all the good point of the Solana ecosystem, but you still hold the same yield that you will have in Ethereum. So that is basically the very important thing you need to understand about M0. One more messaging use case. This one is Securitize. And I mean, I will quickly go over, but I think Securitize does not need much presentation. It's the largest regulated digital asset platform, and it's helping institutions tokenize and issue like securities or private equity, and they put that on chain. So they use the Wormhole messaging layer exclusively. So Wormhole is their main and official partner for that. So let's take the BlackRock Bulldog Fund, for instance. It's a tokenized money market fund for around, I think, $2.8 billion under management, okay? So to create and redeem shares, you must be a qualified purchaser, but which it's fully compliant, okay? But then you will be able to use it into DeFi platform. So let's take, for instance, if you want to use the Bulldog, you can do that on Euler, for instance, or the ACRED from Apollo, you can do it on Morpho. And there's also the V-Bill for Vanyek. So what is very important, and that will be a wrapped asset in that case, but it's very important to understand what kind of DeFi opportunity these institutions are having and what kind of opportunity we have access as a non-institutional player into with this new solution. So let's take the transfer flow, for instance. Securitize has a token that is created on Ethereum. User mint ACRED. So here you are using a messaging, you will end up with a wrapped asset. These are key difference between this and entity. ACRED is minted on Ethereum. You use the Wormhole messaging protocol, so you have all the in-depth security from the Guardian. You will have a wrapped ACRED on Sol, and then you can directly use on the Drift protocol, which is a big DeFi protocol on Solana. So that opportunity is actually very important because even like not long time ago, not only you would not have access to something like ACRED because it was highly regulated for only institution, and on top of it, you would never have been able to use it on Solana. So that whole flow actually is making a huge difference for the entire ecosystem. So where can you use all those institutional assets today? Well, Bulldog can be used as a collateral on Ethena, for instance. You have 1.46 billion with the USDT. ACRED can be a collateral on Morpho. You can also have it on Drift. It was actually the first offering from Drift Institutional. So these opportunities are actually live. You can actually today go into any of these platforms. You will have to, of course, if you want to use something that is done by Securitize, you will have to go through their platform. You will have to KYC, but the entry level is much lower than it used to be before. And it's a very good opportunity, especially if you are a Solana user, for instance. So I think it's very important to understand this entire flow and what kind of opportunity you can get. So thank you very much for listening. And like, I think what is important is to understand that what we're creating today is something that hasn't been done before. And all of this has been powered not only with tokenization, but also with interoperability, which is what Wormhole does. Thank you very much.